Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going over every edit I've made in 2024 and 2025 and ranking them on a tier list. So I can see which edits do I think were good, which edits do I think were not, what do I think I could have done better in certain situations. Yeah, as you can see, the tournaments do take up quite a lot. Uh, we can worry about that later. For now, let's start off with the beginning few. We have 5 edits at the beginning from 2024. Now, obviously, I'm going to be muting them in case of copyright. So first off, the first ever edit I posted onto this channel. Zebra Universal Body. It's like not the best thing you could think of, but it's not the worst either. Like you can see it's decent beginnings. You might think, oh, that's a really good first edit. No, it's not, because it's not my first edit. But we can ignore that. Comparing this to other edits that came around this time, such as this and let's see, this one, it's not the greatest. At the time, it probably would have been A tier, but with more and more edits coming out, this is C tier at best. Anyways, next up, Chess versus Games verse. This is another one of those re-uploads I have. You can see that's not me. That's a different profile picture entirely. This is just from Gold Balloony, my previous channel which I made. I stopped posting on that because YouTube niches didn't work. That's why my first few edits were released on the same day, because I already had them in, just in my files. You can see it's pretty simple. It's just, oh, chess is the best game ever. It's more fun than poker. It's more fun than Uno. Whatever. Honestly, at the time, it was pretty good. Definitely above Z-Broly and Roboti, but it's still only a C tier. Next up was, this one. Inner Agent 3 versus Matt from Wii Sports. I don't know why that previous one was there, but okay. But you can see it's, just that. Nothing really happens here other than just poorly made MP4. That's a GIF. It's very poor quality. And the sync is the only thing that's really good about this edit. I'm going to be giving it D tier. But then you can see this. Literally the same exact edit, but with different icons. That's literally it. And this was made for Gold Coiny. But the thing about that, if I get a new tab and just go to Gold Coiny, you can see he quit. So this is irrelevant and does not have a use for existing. I'm gonna be giving it F tier because it's just a remake of a D tier edit for something that doesn't even matter anymore. Here we have the first ever edit I actually made for Retro Body edits. It's just Kirby versus tiering system. Nothing too big about it. You can see I get him somehow you can see there's a lot of things wrong with this edit. For example, I put outer below hyperversal. I put Kirby into hyperversal. You can see it's very poor scaling, but definitely better than some of these. So I'm going to be giving it B tier. And that's every edit I made in 2024. Now we just have all of 2025. This is going to be a big one. So over here we have Gogeta from Dragon Ball Super, specifically Dragon Ball Super Broly. And you can just see it's the first edit I made in 2025. I was very proud of that. It's just Gogeta Blue versus tiering system. Really, you can see it's the exact same formula as Kirby. It's just a carbon copy. It goes on for excessively long. And you can see the issues of an edit that just goes on and on, especially when it's already over. So I'm going to be giving it the same ranking, but I'm going to also be putting it above Kirby because, again, it is a quote-unquote better take. This leads into cooler versus tiering system, which was formerly my most viewed video, but since got dethroned a few days ago by this video, which we'll get into later. At the time, I would have put this in S tier simply because it got views, but it's on the same rank as these, and probably the best because it actually stops at galaxy level. It's basically these two without the issue, so I'm going to be putting this in A tier. Next up, I Am That I Am and Supreme Author versus tiering system. There is no reason for this to exist. Right? It just got popular for no reason. I don't like this edit. At all. This edit sucks. Why can't I pause? Alright. But yeah, it's basically just one of these again, but it just keeps on going on and they keep on winning. It's extremely boring because you know they're gonna get the next one. Oh, outer versal? Maybe it's mid-diff? No concept. F tier. That leads us to, again, more tiering system edits. Black Frieza versus tiering system. Yeah. It's literally the exact same as like every other tiering system edit I've made. No differences at all. It's the same exact formula. I don't even think this one cuts off. Yeah, you can see it's 37 whole seconds, just like all the other ones. So I'm going to be putting this in B tier. Okay? Anyways, moving on to Geometry Dash Icon versus Parkour Champion Evbo and Henry Stickmin. I made this how long ago? 11 months ago. Right? You can't hear it because it's muted, but I used Electroman Adventures for the song, right? This is by far one of my best edits I've made during this time period. Probably the best edit I made up until, like, here. But yeah, this is easy S tier. Easiest S tier I'll ever give to something. After that, Charlie Brown versus tiering system. That's it. That's the edit. Obviously, it's a joke edit because you can like, oh, immediately lost, right? I feel like that's what makes it funny, and that's what people like found funny. If you check all the comments, it's just W him for being 1A. So I'm gonna be putting this in high B tier. Oh, the next one started. Why is this happening now? But yeah, you can see GD Icon versus Cuphead, right? It's just no. Can I not even like can't even picture in picture. But yeah, no. This edit it sucks. Okay, this is one of my least favorite edits simply because it's just wrong. And then like Ayamu Kazuga versus tiering system, I don't really see a point in the existing, so this one gets F tier and this one gets C tier. These two don't really matter. Like, look, and the time it takes for this to load is going to be the next video. That's how short it is. Okay, we should be back. I was at Steve Combs versus tiering system. Okay. So, yeah, Steve Combs versus tiering system. Again, not really the best edit. It's just, It's more of just like the standard kind of edit I would have made at this time. Because that's all people really wanted to make. That's just everything people wanted me to make. Just tiering system edits. Over and over and over again. So, thankfully this was the last one before a normal edit. but it's gonna get high C tier. Cause I feel like after a few tiering system edits, it just gets bland. Next up, we have this Goku vs. Ash's Pikachu by Pikachu Fanatic, some random person who just stumbled on my channel and just randomly started posting. It's like Viet Mugen before Viet Mugen kind of thing. So obviously, this is the most unfair matchup you will ever see on my channel. Totally not. Yeah, no. Uh, it's not tiering system, so I could give it bonus points, but compared to what's after, I don't think it's deserving of that much. It's B tier at best. After that, it's my friend Sentra versus tiering system. Like, a whole guy. Yeah. You can even see he recommended it. God, why is my thing so laggy today? But I'm personally gonna say it's funny how I just had someone go me versus the tiering system. So honestly, I feel like this is like the best tiering system edit I've made in a while compared to the rest. I'm gonna say it's A tier,
At least I beat an entire country. D.
but still below cooler because it had like a much bigger impact on my channel. Anyways, this one, Dogman vs. Tiering System, you might recognize that guy. That is Vortex Edits. The Vortex Edits. Funniest thing about this, if you were to check my YouTube channel, right? Just go to community posts. One of my oldest posts, like if you just keep on going, is literally just some random scaling I somehow made up during making that edit. I don't know how I ended up with that conclusion, but you can check if you want at the end. I ended up with the conclusion that Dogman was star level. You can see the issue there. He's nowhere near that continent at best, so I could give this S tier because it was Vortex, or I could not laser and give it the same tier I'd give these. Since the scaling was a bit off, it's going to be low B tier, but, you know, you win some, you lose some. Next one. Robani vs. Shenron. I do not have any memories of posting this to this specific channel. But Robani vs. Shenron is really just Robani vs. Broly copied over, so it's getting D tier at best. Bill Cipher is next. Bill Cipher versus tiering system. Dear God, we're nowhere near the end. But Bill Cipher versus tiering system, right? I ended up with the statement that he was around multiversal. I'd say it was pretty good, especially since where's the comment? Well, there was a comment. It was by I think SAT Productions. They literally just proved my point. For that, I'm gonna give it A tier. Okay, it's kind of lagging my thing to keep switching videos, so I'm gonna be just speed blitzing through a few of them without showing the video if that's fine. I might show it in like the actual video, but not in the recording here. Homelander and Thanos versus GD Icon F tier. It's another copy. Marker the Green versus tiering system B tier. It's just like every other tiering system edit. Same with Roboti, same with Traffic Cone. Matter of fact, where's the next tiering system edit? I'm just gonna put every single tiering system edit into this tier. Like any other ones, I'll do the rest later. So the 10k views collab. That, honestly, worst idea I could have thought of. Oh, I'm at 23 subscribers. I should host an open collab. That idea sucked. Captain Underpants versus Fictional Idiots, immediate S tier. Okay, amazing idea. One of the best ideas I've made, probably behind editor versus viewers as a concept. Right? Like, there's definitely some stuff I've done better, some stuff I've done worse, right? But this is one of my best ideas on the channel. Yeah. Roboti versus Captain Underpants and Dogman. This edit, I remember I was thinking, You know, I'm Red Roboti Edits. I have yet to let Roboti win anything other than the first edit. So I made an edit like this just because. And it's not really my best work, probably C tier, but definitely above like that. Xenoverse Goku versus Scarlet King. This is literally just a repeat, same song, same thing, literally the exact same edit. Time Patroller versus Comp Cookie Run verse. This is something I really like, because not only did it introduce the strongest character to my channel, Time Patroller, that's also my favorite character on this channel, the Time Patroller. Right? Like, just the concept of having your favorite character who's also just happens to be strong. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna give this one S tier simply because I also was able to use a Xenoverse song, and it just makes things a lot better. Charlie Brown versus I Am That I Am. You can't even see I Am That I Am because of all the text I put on the thumbnail. B tier from what I remember. This three-part series of Time Patroller versus every character that's been on my channel, that was just me going, here's my super cool, overpowered OC, but he's an actual character. Watch him solo everyone. C tier. For all of them. Dogman versus Homelander. I'm gonna put this in F tier because it's literally just a submission for this collab, which never should have existed in the first place. As much as I like Zamasu, he does not deserve this torment. I'm calling it. Minecraft Steve versus random characters. C tier. No, D tier. It's really just the third part of this. Copy pasted, but I replaced Time Patroller with Steve and made him fight everyone and lose. This one's a funny story. After I made this edit, my friend who loved Cookie Run, still does somewhat, he was like, bro, you can't just see that. And then he told me, beat Cookie Run in writing. So I used Spider-Man. I'm going to put these both in S tier because they're some of my favorite edits, especially before Shakes. These are some of my best edits. Cooler versus Broly. This is just a better version of the collab edit. It's the same song, but it's an actual edit, so I'm going to be putting it in D tier. Announcer versus tiering system. Another tiering system. Red Roboti versus Roboti. Yeah. Me versus a fictional character. This edit sucked. I used Taco's tirade. That should tell you enough. Balloony versus the CFGC verse. F tier. Outdated as hell. The moment after I made that, we made the verse outer. So, you know. Vortex versus Versus Arena. That's a very confusing title, but easy S tier. One of my best edits, even when compared to my current ones. Right? This is probably like my best CapCut only edit. I'm putting this in top of S tier because of how good it is. You could watch it if you want. It's like amazing, genuinely amazing. Like if I put it up right now, you can see like just how smoothly everything goes. I even add their photos. I never did that. Right, like you can see how effective it is, right? I honestly really like this edit. You can even see fire, right? Like you can see. Wait, where's the vortex comment? Yeah, you can see stuff like this happened. So obviously it was a good edit. If both people in the edit were like, yes, amazing edit.
For the time it was created, it's complete facts. The edit itself is pretty good as it's very straightforward and it's enjoyable in the sense that you can see your favorite editor compete against another editor.
Then, when it was Madino, vortexing between mid-high and high diff, if that makes sense.
Normal, Super, and Dark Sonic versus Base and Super Movie Shadow. I don't understand what they meant by that request, and I still think they meant to have like a bunch of different matchups, like 6 matchups. But oh well, it's too late. This is a D tier edit though. More steering system edits. The reason there's so many tiering system edits in this specific area, this is when I hit 50 subscribers. So what I did is I did every single request I didn't do beforehand at that point. That should be all the tiering system edits for now, right? Here, Com Pikmin versus Isabelle. This was a stomp because of Smash Bros. Scaling, but honestly, not that good of an edit. High D tier. Chris McLean from Total Drama versus Sans Undertale. C tier, but definitely above this. Garfield versus Snoopy. It's basically just, this actually was the edit trace to make this, but I posted the latter first. But it's not that good of an edit on its own. It's B tier, honestly. My submission to Vortex Edits 2K collab, I think it was. It was 4 versus Merge Zamasu. Obviously, Zamasu won. I still believe in this. But honestly, when you compare it to, like, you know, his thing. I guess I can't find it here. But yeah, you can watch it if you want. It's like B tier, my part. If we want to include Vortex's part, it'd obviously be S tier, but you know, that's cheating. Okay, Comp Spider-Man versus Cooler and Z-Rolly. Literally just this edit, but worse. Merge Zamasu versus Hydria. The Merge Zamasu streak of him being against Object Show characters continues. I honestly really liked this edit. I'm gonna put this in A tier. It was one of my nicest edits, and it had one of the best songs. It was Superhero by, I think, Simon Curtis. Really good listen. I would recommend it. We're getting close to the tournament. At the tournament, I think I'll start showing the videos again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like close this and just, yeah. Let me get to. Yeah, I can do these. So, Cooler versus Dogman. This was the first edit I added dialogue in. I've since stopped doing that because it felt too much of a hassle. Honestly, good premise. I'd say A tier alongside this one, and this one, and this one. This Cuphead versus Dogman. Even though it's a stomp, like you can check Cuphead versus Dogman. Right? It's comp Cuphead, comp Dogman. The main reason why I say it's like my best edit is because of that. I managed to make what's somewhat a null in just CapCut using keyframes for positioning, so I'd say that's an easy S tier. This, in my opinion, is still my best edit even when you factor into allied motion. Right? Because that's just like cool looking effects. This is actual effort. I actually got back pain making that. And then we have the same thing with Zamasu. I like Zamasu. He can also go in S tier. Zamasu versus BFDI verse. More Zamasu winning. Negative, right? But this one wasn't as cool. I'd say like high C tier, honestly. Top C tier. And the last edit I made as like a predecessor to editor versus viewer, so I could get everything ready. Specifically Godzilla versus Kong, like the movie, versus Dogman and PD from the books. It wasn't that close of a matchup, but I liked the song I used. It was a nice song. I synced to myself. I'd say it's like low A tier. And then we get into the thing. So, obviously, if I just watch all of them, it's going to go in backwards. I don't know if there's a way to undo it to fix that. I guess just like loop it or something. Or I could just do it in backwards order. Yeah, I think I'll do it in backwards order. So, obviously, you have the finale, right? You have the finale, right? You have, obviously, decent clip matching, doesn't make really much sense. And then here, yeah, how the hell are you supposed to understand what this means? So where is it? Here, the finale. The finale, not the best way to end off the series. Part 26, right? What was this one? I think it was 3 eliminations. Yeah, Time Patroller. Yeah, all that. Yeah, you can see what happens here. I can't change my... Okay. But yeah, you can see right here, it's just, you know, random matchups, Xenoverse, whatever. It's not the best, but it's probably, I'd say it's better than the finale. 25, right? You can check. Which one was this? Oh yeah, it was this one. Yeah, Time Patroller just went crazy here. It was really just another Xenoverse episode. A lot of the later ones are gonna be mainly Xenoverse because that's really the only verse that survived, right? Other than Darman for some reason. Part 24. This was, I think, Poker Face as the song. Honestly, the matchups weren't even that bad. You can see more Xenoversing doing the Xenoverse, right? Obviously, more Xenoverse. Honestly, I'd say because of the song, it's A tier, but definitely low A tier. Moving on to 23, right? Captain Underpants, Universe Goku, whatever. These are just really weird matchups, honestly, just random matchups. Like, tell me, who in their right mind would make Captain Underpants versus Xenoverse Goku? Okay, we are back, continuing off this. We were at, I think, part 22. Yep. Obviously, you look at it, nothing too special, just, you know, filling up some random characters that didn't get much of an opportunity to shine. Not the best, I'd probably put it at, like, the bottom of B tier, maybe C tier. Yeah, like there. Then we get to part 21. I'm gonna be trying to go through the tournaments faster than usual, simply because, you know, there's a lot. So you can see here, right? Same thing, just Xenoverse to Xenoverse, whatever. Just random characters who didn't appear in early parts of the tournament. Not the best, B tier at best. We've gone down to a row of edits now. We're like halfway there. So where were we? Part 21? Okay, part 20. I remember part 20 was one of my favorites because, yeah, it was Devilovania. And it had a 3v1. Out of all of these edits, I'd probably say part 20 is like the best. So I'm gonna put it like there. Because, like, again, it could have been better. It's got decent clip matching. I don't know what the hell I did here. You know. Yeah. I could have expanded the tournament by making each of those individual matchups, but I made it a one matchup. Right? You can see it's just over and over again the same thing. I have no idea what I did here. What the hell was that? But yeah, B tier at best. Moving on to part 19. What was this again? Yeah, it was just, again, more random character matchups, like Cosmic Armor Superman, last appearance, I think, part 4. This is their first appearance. Bill Cipher, he's dead. Palkia, first appearance. You can see the point. Not that good. Low B tier. Actually, no, C tier. Apparently, part 18 doesn't exist. Or I just never added it. So, what? Yeah, here it is. So, you have Lich and Dogman and, yeah. I don't think it really matters. No one would have really needed this to exist. I'm putting this in B tier. Still better than these two because I just don't like them. Like, I remember Editor versus Viewers was supposed to be like the pinnacle of my channel, the thing from my channel. And it just didn't. And it was going back here, part 17, full minute. And it was 4 matchups, just a really slow-paced song. Yeah. Nothing good ever happened from this beat here. Dogman movie, but it's a short, didn't even work. And that was an April Fool's, so we can ignore those. So next up, part 16. I know the segment's gonna take a while, but yeah. Like, you can see, it's just fast-paced, negative matchups. Like, seriously. Nothing good comes out of those. Obviously, like, that's like C tier at best, even below some of these. Part 15. Right. It gave us this beautiful matchup. And then Duolingo got cancelled for using AI. So, like, B tier. Part 14. What's in here? Oh, yeah. This. Yeah. Nothing impactful happened in most of these parts. I'm just gonna go on a whim and say, like, most of Editor versus Viewers is just all B tier. I get a few parts out. That gets us to part 10. But again, I have a feeling these were all kind of like filler. Part 10, you can see, you know, just more random edits. Obviously. Yep, 3 matches, honestly, wasn't the best. But I'd say it's like high B tier. Compared to like the rest. Part 9, we're so close to the end of this. And it is the most random matchups you will ever see. For example. Yeah. But at this point in time, I feel like I was still going strong at Editor versus Viewers, so I can put this pretty high, like, there. Honestly. Part 8. Right? Obviously, just count for wheel spins. Yeah, I don't really think that one's one of my good edits. I'm gonna put that in, like, C tier. Because like, when it's, like, 2 matchups or 1 matchup, it just feels rushed. Right? Here you just see it's 4 matchups, nothing too savvy about this. B tier. Part 6. You have all this. Just random matchups. I don't know what this is supposed to entail. Right? B tier. Alright, part 5. I remember. This one was, yeah, 2v1. It was just, hey guys, look, it's Goku from Xenoverse. He does the Goku. I don't really like this edit. D tier. Oh, I missed the collab. F. Part 4. I was still getting standardized. You can see by, like, the text. It's off. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I even was, like, I don't know, I was saying something like, this is RCS's theme song now, and I never used it again in the history of my channel. Yeah. It did have pretty good syncing for the time, so I'm gonna put that in, like, high B tier. 3 more. Here, I had gotten Allied Motion. I remember, it showed a pop-up and I couldn't find the X because it was so tiny at the time. I just thought it was paid altogether. You can just see, yeah, nothing. It's just, hey, look, Batman. C tier. Okay, and the last 2 we have, I remember this one had, like, pretty good song. And, this guy right here was supposed to do a lot more in the tournament. I'm gonna put this in B tier, and I remember part 1 exactly, it's B tier. So now we're done with that. Let's see. So this one right here, Goku versus Gold Coiniverse in IQ. I made this specifically to rage bait someone, and they did not get rage baited because it got views. Honestly, it would have been a good edit had I not traced it. Yeah, this edit was traced. Unlike a lot of other edits, I actually didn't sync this one. So I'm putting this in C tier. I think I'm gonna do the tournaments later. Like, I'm gonna get everything else out first and then do animation versus video games. Because I feel like just doing another tournament in the same batch is gonna just... it's not gonna be as fun. So, Sonic versus Goku, right? I could just search up Sonic because it's the only one. Sonic versus Goku. Game Sonic versus Anime Goku. This was a request, and honestly, pretty close matchup. But it was just a traced version of editor versus viewers, part 1. So it gets C tier. Hydria versus Zamasu versus Arcinder. Yes, that's how you pronounce it, not Arcinder. Or whatever. Right? I tried changing up the text using a tutorial I found online. It looks pretty good, especially with all this happening. The clip matching, similar to Hydria versus Zamasu, was made for the edit, and I respect that. I'd like to thank my friend for that. So I'm gonna give this edit A tier, but low A tier. Goku versus Surprise Attack and Grug. I really like this edit. I might give this S tier, because it's got a good song, it's synced well, it's completely correct of a take, and it slanders people who don't know much about power scaling and just meme around. Hydria vs. Wally West gets F tier because it's rage bait. Moving on, we have one last hearing system edit, which was Arceus versus specifically my hearing system, which I had made in a prior video. Like, you can even check, if I go to playlist, I just have, where is it? Yeah, versus my hearing system, it's just this. And it was pretty good, but I'm pretty sure the audio glitched in this, so yeah. At this point, I started adding quote-unquote shakes in the points of CapCut effects to my edits, so I'm gonna give this low A tier. God Fusion Goku and Church of Goku versus Abridged Goku. This is also getting an A tier. It's a fun premise. It uses a new song that I had used. Actually, no, I used that song once, but it was a new-ish song. It synced perfectly well. The transitions looked great. I'm saying this is A tier. Animation versus video games recap goes into C tier. It's just the entire tournament, like every tournament part, sped up to oblivion to make it 1 minute in total length. Missed edits. I remember I used a new song for this. I synced it all. I tried experimenting with text. I tried experimenting with shakes. I clip matched the best I could. I'm giving this one maybe S tier. Yeah, S tier.
I have just discovered the secrets of the universe!
Well, it's good.
I'm gonna zoom out a bit. Z Broly versus Goku. This was the first edit I made in all light motion, and it's going D tier. You might be thinking, if it was made in all light motion, like I can watch the edit right now, it looks great compared to the other ones. I'm giving this D tier because it has one shake, which I got from a tutorial and had nothing with. It was just boring. It's just, hey, look, he can clip match. Isn't that insane? He learned how to use scene packs. That's all this edit is. It's just boring. BFTI characters tournament, I'll do that now. I'll do that now. because there's only 6 of those, so it won't be as difficult. Of course, it's in reverse. Of course, I'm just gonna do it like this. So the first part, right? It's just a bunch of matchups. Yeah, pretty standard. Probably like C tier at best, though. Wasn't that good of an edit. Part 2, basically the same thing. It showed this pretty decent shake. I couldn't recreate the one from the tutorial without a tutorial, so that's why you got the little floppy thing. But honestly, I feel like I like that floppy thing, so I'm gonna put this in B tier. Part 3 of the tournament. I did this crude joke. I'm gonna give this a B tier, right? Because obviously, this is just negative, but the second matchup is even worse. Because it's quite literally God, basically. Part 4, I tried experimenting with more all-out motion. You can see I made a zoom in and out kind of thing. I feel like it works really well compared to the other zooms I was using at the time. So I'm going to give this one an A tier. And part 5, I'm going to get to part 6 later. This is 6 characters, obviously. Clip matching, I did impressive on the clip matching. And I went back to using the shake from the tutorial. Right, obviously. Because, you know, it's more effective. You can see I made pretty good clip matching. The effects were great. I'm going to give this S tier. 1 versus Janimba. That's like B tier. Okay. This next one. This next one. V1 versus fictional robots. Wait. Yeah, V1 versus fictional robots. It was like it's a decent edit and all. I even made sure to use the exact song that was used by the person I was trying to rage bait at that point. And it worked. But honestly, aside from that, it's a pretty good edit. I used a lot of characters that I've never had on the channel. Like Neo Metal Sonic. I'm honestly thinking of giving this A tier. Now, that leads us to this. V1 versus Roboti. One of my best edits. Because I found out you could use All-Out Motion Pro features by watching an ad. So, yeah. You watch this. It's a good edit. You can see. It's a good edit. I really like this edit. I'm straight up just giving this S tier. And before we get on to the next few, I'm gonna do this and then tournament and then Zamasu. So lastly, there was this. I made a poll for this on who should win. I got more votes, so obviously that's what made me win this. But honestly, that edit sucked, because I tried syncing it to the background beat, and it just didn't work well for the song. So I'm giving this C tier at best.
No. 0 out of 10.
Now, going back to the BFDI Characters Tournament, Part 6. Honestly, pretty good clip matching for both ends. I'd honestly say that this is the best part of the tournament. So I'm gonna be giving this A tier. Okay. Zamasu's Takeover. If you didn't know, what I made something called Zamasu's Takeover, where I just said, okay, 26 chances, 1 for each letter of the alphabet. Choose a character whose name starts with the letter A. Top comment chooses it. It was Azriel Dreamer. So, yeah. Here, look, Infinite Zamasu, right? Azriel Dreamer, whatnot. And obviously, since Azriel was like multiversal at best, and Zamasu's got some pretty good arguments for outer, it was a stomp. I honestly really liked this edit, especially with what I tried to do here with like masking. I had to trace over Zamasu and make that an inverted PNG. So I'd say this was pretty good. I'm going to put this in A tier. BFDI versus Infinite Zamasu wasn't really the best. It was a short edit, half of it was intro, and you never want an edit where more of it is intro, and like, you know. So I'm gonna give this one C tier. Okay, we have a few more edits before I'm gonna cut the recording, and then just do all of animation versus video games, because I feel like that's gonna be way easier than a separate recording. So now we can finally go just more recent edits. These are my most recent edits. So first off, that is not what I clicked. Shakes versus Knowles. Honestly, like I've seen stuff like Shake solo Knowles, right? I was saying, if you have a shake in an edit, it's pretty important, but a null makes it 10 times better. So a null should be technically more powerful in a power scaling sense. So obviously I just did this because it was a stupid idea that just so happened to work. And I honestly love the way I did it and the song I used. I'm giving this S tier and its carbon copy S tier. Because this. It's technically not a carbon copy because in the prior, I actually didn't use all light motion. I only used it to like make it a bit brighter. But here you can see I used all light motion, and yeah, it's just really fun. It's a really fun edit. I really like that. After this, we have one from Teapot 20 versus Broly. You might wonder, why is this edit so out of sync compared to the other ones? Because I didn't use any CapCut at all in this edit. And since it's way easier for me to sync on my laptop than my phone, you can tell the issue. Honestly, the clip matching was pretty good, but the rest of the edit wasn't. So I'm going to be giving this B tier. Okay, so we have a few more before we get into editor versus viewers 2, which is currently ongoing, and then animation versus video games. So next up, we have the 3-part series, BFDI versus Random Versus. First part, Flower versus Sukuna, and this. Right, you can see it's a pretty good paste edit. You can see I tried stuff with the text with these like little bars here. You can tell I really liked this edit, so I'm gonna be giving this A tier. Part 2 was also really good, especially since the clip matching was great. For this first matchup, I don't know why this exists, but still, it's pretty funny. And then if you check the next matchup, yeah, it's just a repeat of the previous one, because I wanted it to be a good edit. I'm gonna be putting this in B tier, because it's not on the level of the first one, and like, obviously, we don't talk about the song I used here. But yeah. This was specifically made to poke fun at Undertale in power scaling, and this was a request. So this one doesn't really matter as much as the other two, so I'm gonna put this in low B tier, below the other one. Okay, moving on. Editor versus viewers 2. This is what makes me happy, because months after people voted to do editor versus viewers 2, we finally ended up with enough characters to use because of this guy, Discord CEO R2F. Yeah, he does that. So yeah, you can see it's all Goku's here. I don't know how this happened, but I find this is revolutionary for my channel, so I'm gonna be giving this A tier. It's not like the best of the best, but it's still pretty good. Okay. After that, Vortex's 10K collab. I'm gonna skip to my part because, you know, I didn't make this. I made this. You can see it's a significant drop in quality compared to Vortex's part, but compared to the rest of my channel, this is actually a boost in quality. Because, like, I don't know if the song's copyrighted or not, but if it is, then I won't be playing it. But you can, like, hear in the actual video, I added a dialogue. You can see I added little names for them. You can't really see because it's shaken. It's honestly one of my best edits, and it's my best performing edit, so I think it's safe to give this S tier. Okay, next off, my birthday collab. We're giving this its own tier below F tier. Okay? I do not like the use of wisp hacks, because the way it is, it's like you don't make the edit, you make a blueprint and someone else makes your structure. Okay? That just doesn't make sense to me. And honestly, like, no one even joined it, so what's the point of just keeping this? There's no point in enjoying that. Editor versus Viewers 2 Part 2, though. This was probably a great edit. There was this noticeable gap between this and Editor versus Viewers 2 1. It's very confusing to say it. That's why I called it Rebirth. But yeah, I feel like the wait was worth it because you can see I experimented with more stuff here. If you look at the text, there's like a little thing between the lines. If you look at the effects, yeah. I feel like this is probably deserving of S tier. Yeah, I have a lot of more recent S tiers than early S tiers. Yeah. Part 3. It was another 4 eliminations. And obviously, since we had Goku and specifically Sukuna, I decided to make it as stupid as possible here. I don't know why I did this, but I love the fact that I did, especially with the clips that it gave me. So I'm gonna be giving this A tier. Right, like you can tell, these newer videos, they're really good. This one, part 4, I used Armageddon again. This is the 3rd time I've used it, and, you know, I've done some stupid stuff with this. For example, the Wii balance board, right? Whatnot. It was a good edit. I wouldn't say S tier, but definitely A tier. Part 5. We've almost finished. There's 7 parts right now. Deborah Sukuna, you might notice it's a bit different. I tried turning up the sharpness, and honestly, I feel like it helped the edit in this case. Because it just lets Deborah and Sukuna look way better in their part, and the other part, you couldn't see them anyways. So, yeah. You can even you can vaguely see the zoom lines effect in the shakes. I'm going to go here and say, this is S tier. 2 more parts. Part 6. And the second newest part as of right now. I did 8 matchups. Because I used Night of Night from Toho. Yeah, you can just tell. I liked this edit. Maybe a bit much. But it's a good edit. In my opinion. It's great. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this edit is S tier. And the next edit, my current newest edit, Editor versus Viewers Part 7, it's a real guy. It's Deeren. Yeah. So I'm going to be putting this in A tier.
Alright guys, so yeah, I haven't made a video in such a long time. So I'm gonna be reacting to Red Body's YouTube short of me. It's a really cool edit that he made. So yeah, I'm just gonna react to it. I'm wearing that same exact hoodie. That same exact hoodie. I wear that almost everywhere I go. Why do I have an edit on myself? Why do I have an edit? This is a massive wheel. My name got chosen. I'm not even part of the whole edit, and I'm like in the thumbnail. Like, that's kind of messed up, I'm not gonna lie. So, you know what? I'm rating that overall short at 6.7 out of 10.
Okay, and we are back. All that's left is animation versus video games. Thankfully, this playlist is in order, so it'll be way easier for me to rate it. So starting off, part 1 of animation versus video games, right? It's just pretty simple, honestly. Just some random matchups. You can even see, like, the first matchup is the return of this guy, who previously appeared in Rage Bait Edit. But yeah, honestly, I feel like animation versus video games wasn't that much of a good idea compared to editor versus viewers. Because I feel like everyone's done some form of, like, cartoons versus video games, anime versus video games, animation, whatever. So I'm going to be giving the C tier. Part 2, you can see it's basically just the same thing, just random matchups. Nothing that makes it stand out from the rest other than the fact that it was one of the first. And, new Vegeta that lost just drops. Yeah. Like, obviously, like, this is just random edits. You can tell I'm giving this a B tier. Part 3. You can see the intro's a bit quicker because you have this, right? Of course, you have your 4 matchups, but after that ends, you have another 2, and guess what? This guy's gonna be important to the tournament. I honestly like how I found a song where it's like that. When I first made the edit, the song extended, so I was like, oh, I guess I might as well spin more wheels. So I'm gonna be giving this A tier. Part 4, right? You know, gives us Merge Zamasu. First appearance in this tournament, will not be the last. He's also going to have a major impact. I honestly really like this edit compared to, like, the first 2. Like, even though they're basically the same exact edit, I just, you know, I like some of them more. Like, Part 5 has stupid stuff. I like stupid stuff. High B tier. Maybe, like, there. Right? And then just keeps going. Part 6. Tapion, more Dragon Ball characters. Yeah. I remember I made a poll for Rick versus Mega Man. It was one of my most voted ones, so yeah. I'm gonna give this B tier. Right, because, like, similar to editor versus viewers, most of them are just kinda there. Yeah. This one, this was a song request, actually. The only one I've ever done on my channel where it's like, no, this is one of 2 where they recommend the song and I do that song. The other one was, I think, Garfield versus Snoopy. And, yeah. So I'm gonna say this one was A tier, maybe? Like, obviously, this one had a recommended song and that's it. But this came before that, so I'm pretty proud of it. Okay, animation versus video games part 7. Oh yeah, that guy. Here. Didn't I just do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's part 6 then? What? Oh, okay. So then I'm on part 8, my bad. Part 8, right, I remember this edit I had to actually cut off because here, it was a copyrighted song. So I had to, like, kind of cut it off at the end. Honestly, B tier. Part 9. Nothing too special happened here, just random matchups, like all wheels are. Cuphead gets... yeah. It's a good edit automatically because Cuphead loses. So I'm gonna give this an 8 here. Part 10. What do we got? New intro. I really like this intro. I put Cyberman on video games despite him being an anime character or whatever. I also finally got to using, I think it was Tired of Problems. And of course Lego Batman's here. He somehow gets some points compared to Insomniac Spider-Man. Yeah, Lego Batman can just do that. Yeah. honestly B tier edit, but I'd say it's better than the other ones. No, not that. 11. Part 11, right? It's just more matchups. Yeah. Clip matching here was somehow pretty good. I just accidentally did that. So I'm gonna give this 8 here because of this last matchup having pretty good clip matching. It's significantly on a better level than the rest. Oh yeah, this. Gold coiny. Similar to, where is it? But anyways, but wherever it is, like Goku versus Gold Coinyverse, similar to that, it was made like that because it was mad funny that Gold Coiny, technically a real person, and technically moon level, keeps losing to not moon level stuff. So I'm gonna give this B tier though. Part 13, we are nowhere near halfway. Oh yeah, this one was, I think, Galactifunk? Or whatever. Yeah. Obviously this take, people didn't take it, that. I didn't know where Donkey Kong scaled. These scales that I've seen of Donkey Kong was like moon level. And I've also seen like a planetary level invincible scale, so I just assumed. I'm giving this B tier. Part 14. What's going on in part 14? Alien X appears. I had a lot of hope for this. Decent clip matching here, right? The Ender Dragon. Yeah. Just random matchups, indie characters. If you are an indie character, you are probably in this part of the tournament specifically. Still just B tier, like most of these. Part 15. Really funny thing happened. We had Chipper's Revenge appear, and then the next matchup he immediately died. That was pretty lucky. I'm not going to be basing these based off the wheel spins, or rather how well I did of syncing the edit. I'm going to give this B tier, but because it was funny, I'm going to put it like there, in between all the tiering system edits. Part 16. Yeah, just more of this. I think this was insane. Like, that was a song. Funniest thing here. Because the GIF I used for RWQ FSF ASXC was transparent for the background, I had to get another GIF. I had to get another image that was just white and put that behind him whenever he got a point. So yeah, that was pretty funny. That gets A tier, I guess. Part 17. No. This one was Galactifunk, not the other one. Of course, just random stuff, I guess. Herobrine appears. Yeah. Not really the best. I'm honestly giving this C tier. I don't think there's Goku 20. Right, more stuff. Invincible appears again. Best thing about this is that since both wheels were made by me, there wasn't any one particular character who just soloed everything on the wheel. Right? No, put that back. Part 19, I think this one was Shadow Dance. Right, we have our first appearance of Robody, the GOAT, literally me. Of course, we have more random characters. Right, like this one, B tier edit. Anyways, next part, new intro. I think this one was Devilovania, because I used that for part 20 both tournaments. No, this one wasn't. This was Lost Planeta, and it was 2v2s. It was something incredible I did for the tournament. I just did 2v2s, and honestly, I feel like I did pretty well doing 2v2s. Because, like, that's what kind of pushed this to be, like, the best edit in a while. Right? Obviously, you have, the most absurd matchups you'll ever see. And, yeah. For making it, like, the first 2v2, and for having a good song, I'm going to do this 8 here. 21. right? Nothing too special, just more matchups, I guess. Not even 2v2s because I didn't do that immediately again, but yeah. Originally, the only difference, yeah, nothing happened. It just has Janimba, and Janimba's pretty cool. Still just B tier. Part 22. This one. This was, I think, Turu R9 or something like that. Obviously, these were all just stupid matchups. Like, seriously. Who do you think is gonna win? The character who's literally out reversal, or the character who could get debunked to multi? Obviously. So it's B tier. Most of these are gonna be B tier. Perfect upgrade. Like, here, we got more 2v2s. Honestly, could be better. Honestly, like, here, I'd say this was decent clip matching. You could say Kratos clip matched Alien X. Cell and Mira clip matched, right? You could argue that. I'd say it was pretty cool. Of course, Mira's probably, like, the MVP of this tournament. Here, there's no clip matching. It's just an edit. This is the kind of stuff you'd see out of early retro body edits. Part 24, we're about halfway. You can see just more 2v2s, I think. Yeah. Perry the Platypus appears, he does nothing, but take up half of the screen. And it just keeps on going. Right? Like, here you could argue that, the bottom side is better clip matching than the top and bottom, right? And of course, it's just random matchups, like all of these. So just B tier. Part 25. Oh, would you look at that? It's more 2v2s. Because I just couldn't stop that. Of course. Nothing but 2v2s. This is getting C tier because this is like a lot of 2v2s in a row. Oh, would you look at that? Another 2v2. You can see it's starting to get annoying. At least here, Mira and Metal Sonic kind of look like they're doing the same thing. It's still C tier. Right? 27? Yeah. 27. Would you look at that? More 2v2s. We're not even going to want this. That is a C tier. 28. Part 28. At this point, it was longer than editor versus viewers. And, yeah. 20 eliminations, I think it was. Yeah, this was 20 eliminations. I stole this song from someone and just like, you know what, I might as well because, like, come on. I could have stretched this out into like, what, 10 whole edits? But no, I just let you guys have a quick edit, right? Where it's like everyone, nothing really happened, yeah. Honestly, this one wasn't the best. I'd say like low B tier. Part 29, last one with this intro. Well, what are the matchups? Okay. Now, I would just place this below all the other ones, like with all the other 2v2s, but look at that. We got Arceus versus Arceus. So, just for that, I'm gonna give it B tier. Alright, part 30. New intro yet again. And this one, no more 2v2s. Rather, it's a 1v8. Yeah. Literally just the most unfair matchups known to man. Strongest character on both wheels versus a country versus a bee versus Kefla versus Gotenks, right? Honestly, not the best, though, B tier. Okay, we should be back. I had some technical issues. We were on part 31 of the tournament. Right, like most other parts, It's just, yeah. The only difference is specifically part 31. You might notice it's not just squares, they're shifting. This is the first edit I added what you could say as quote unquote shakes in. And honestly, this edit came out really good. It would have been better if it wasn't another 2v2 like all the other ones I've done. Like in post, I'm probably gonna put just every edit I've done a 2v2 in on screen right now, just to show how much I've done this. So yeah. But, you know, it's not the worst. I'm gonna say that's like A tier. Yeah. Part 32. I think I used a Vuk Vuk for the song, or like however you say it. Yeah. Bowser appears. Still hasn't died. This part went really smoothly. I found out how that effect works. Honestly, I'm gonna be giving this A tier as well. It's like the previous part where I actually got to using shakes. I honestly really think the shakes really helped this. Yeah, here. Honestly, a slower paced edit, and it honestly works really well. Especially the two shakes I chose to use. I'm gonna give this S tier probably. Yeah, S tier. Honestly. Part 34. I started naming these for some reason. Why? Anyways. Composite Zamasu versus Mirror. This is entirely because of Xenoverse. That's why if you check out the end of it, where is it? Cosmology equal. Because it's the same, like, cosmology. I honestly really like what I did here. This is also one of the first instances I had of good clip matching. So, yeah, I'd say this one is also, S tier. Few more. Part 35. Yeah, honestly, not the best clip matching, but here is really good clip matching. Right, again, it's the clip matching that carries this. I'd say it's A tier, maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah, why did I name it this? I should have just left it as part 36. Two characters left, and, yeah, it's just Asriel killing everyone. Who would have guessed? B tier. Alright. Part 37. New intro, because I felt like it. So, like, you can see, pretty cool, except, actually, Asriel has the universal erasure. So, technically, Zeno in cosmology. Oh, he's dead. Honestly, A tier because of the new intro. And this leads us to the finale, which is Arceus. This is Arceus versus Grand Priest and Arceus versus Amasu. Best part about this, neither of these matchups were actually Whis. So the funniest thing is, the final part of a Whis tournament had no Whis. That's pretty funny. Probably A tier at best. So let me just zoom out. This is my final tier list for every edit I have made up to this point. In case you thought I was done, I was not. I have all my long forms to do. And these, I remember basically everything about them. First off, which Goku is the strongest? First ever video I made that because I was just having a really good day. Honestly, it's not the best I could have done because it's just, here's a bunch of text you have to read in like 7 seconds. You either get too little or too much time to read, and it was just not a well-constructed video because there was no way to indicate when another section would happen. So it's getting B tier. How I make my edits is D tier. Barely explained how I make edits. Which character on my channel is the strongest? I remember this one. It sucked in terms of scaling, but that's just because I would be working on the edit, and then it turns out I missed a character, and I'm not going to, go back like 17 different characters to fit in Homelander. So this one was a bit rushed. I could have definitely spent more time on this, like an hour or two more, and fixed everything. But I didn't, so it's C tier. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 speedrun. Technically my voice reveal, but it was extremely flimsy, as you had to hear it through a phone speaker that was mainly recording a TV, so yeah. You can't really hear my voice, but I did get clips in this to use in editor versus viewers. Yeah, so I'd say this was pretty good, like B tier. Making a tiering system. I think the first thumbnail was better than this. But basically, this is the first video I actually used my voice in, and honestly, it was a good video. Except for the part that I kept on saying pretty self-explanatory. My friends would not shut the hell up about that. Honestly, I'm giving this 8 here because it's just a good video in general. Definitely not my best. My best is later on, but it's still a good video. BFDI power scaling is whack. I would give this a high tier because it's, extremely well formatted, right? It's got a good thumbnail, but the take, I do not agree with this anymore. If I could, I would take this thumbnail, put it on my newer BFDI power scaling video, and just delete that one, but this one's my best performing long form, so I'm not allowed to. I'm gonna give this B tier. BFB Teapot breaking power scaling, though, that one's actually a good video. I'm giving this one S tier. It's basically my best video, maybe second, I don't know. It's one of my best, and I really enjoyed making this. This is actually the second thumbnail I've made of this. First one was a simpler version. I'm pretty sure if you Google Lens, you can find the older version online. But, it's pretty simple. BFDI versus Dragon Ball. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I mean a lot. Because the funniest thing is, the 3 skills BFDI had were the same 3 skills that Dragon Ball had, being low complex, and outer versal. So I had a lot of fun making this. I got, someone on TikTok actually made a whole thing. I saw, it was what type of question is this? Fun fact, BFDI wins. So I'm going to be giving this 8 here, definitely above tiering system. Right. Which character would win in a battle royale? Honestly, I like this video. It's literally just me rambling on and on for 50 minutes. That might seem long until you remember this video is gonna be an hour. So yeah, there's that. Honestly, I went over how each individual character had a way of winning, and some people genuinely sat through that. Wow. I honestly think this is another S tier video. It's got a great thumbnail, it's easy to tell what I mean, and it goes over every single character, so anyone can see where their favorite character is and how they would win. Ignore what happens with Coiny's intro, and that was really just a troll made by my friend. How fast can BFDI go? This was a joke video, but honestly it was a pretty funny joke video. Definitely 8 here. Because it's technically correct based off of a vague statement made by Carrie, but it's not the best of best. Robotic war theory. I'm not making another theory. I'm canceling that. It was hard to make this theory. I had to think about this, okay, how would this work? And months later, I'd think of a new thing, right? So, yeah, I'd say this is probably the video I've put the most effort into. No, it's not, but it's still S tier. This is the long form I've put the most effort into. This right here, BFDI power scaling is still whack, is definitely my best long form out of all of them. It's pretty simple to say that, too. Because it's you take everything good about this video, and then you do it with a correct scale of low complex multiversal, 5 to 6 to even maybe one more dimension, whatever. It's confusing, right? I have a few more, right? This one, that was just more of a versus wiki joke, but it's true. Roboti would be Z Broly. It's like B tier, but probably like top of B tier. This video low-key sucked. This one. This was a entire timeline made specifically for another YouTuber. I got commissioned to do that for free, by the way. I liked this video, but it gets like a bit confusing at points, so I'd say it's like low B tier. And then this video, you guys